Welcome, everybody. Here we are with Tangled Roots Podcast, Episode 2 here in Garberville, California, Humboldt County, Southern Humboldt, deep in the heart of America's cannabis heartland. We got Johnny Casali from Huckleberry Hill Farms and Jason Gilman from Ridgeline, who conceived the awesome brand Tangled Roots. We got our first guests here, G. Davis from Sun Love Farms and John Neal from Love Humboldt. And we're here to talk about the project and just life in general here in Soham. So what was the reasoning behind you guys picking these two fine fellers for your round two? Anything that jumped out at you?
Yeah, it was pretty easy, honestly. I actually lived next to Johnny when we were, I was probably like, 20 years old. I had my first house in Redway, and my neighbors were John and Denise. And, I've always knew him before that, but, so got pretty close with her family then, him and his amazing two daughters. And, with G-Bob, I've known him around here forever. His wonderful wife, Alana, well, I've known her since I was, we were probably about 3 or 4. So, they're just two really great individuals that grow amazing herb. They're community members. They're part of our roots. What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, ever since I was a kid, I always really looked up more to John Neal, whether or not he knew it or not, because he was always, setting the standard or setting the bar as far as cultivating went. And, his work ethic was just like better than anybody else's. So we all strive to kind of be more like John Neal. And so that's kind of where my mindset was, especially during legalization. All of a sudden now he's a permitted farm, and his herb is just absolutely amazing, and his buds are twice as big as everybody else's, and we're trying to figure out what is he still doing today. And, and then, the rumor mill starts floating around about Galen and having the best weed in Humboldt. Then we want to figure out more and more about what he's doing. And he's under the bushes and taking this madrone mulch and sticking it into this thing. So hey, so what else are you doing? So, these are two amazing people that have amazing hearts that care more about this community than most. And so we couldn't have picked two better people to follow Jason and my lead to be in the Tangled Roots jar. And the product that's in those jars is, I'm sure, amazing. And Chris with Redwood Roots is going to be launching that here in the near future. And so we're super excited about those two and what they bring to the table.
This is really all about the family and that collaborative spirit. And there's also the ladies behind the scenes here of all of us. We all have our partners in crime. So although these fellers are here on camera and on the podcast, we all have the ladies behind the scenes supporting us and making this all shit happen too. Denise. So got Alana and Denise fucking killing it at home, holding down the fort. It was pretty awesome.
Definitely. It's all just a community. This is for, Tangled Roots is a community deal, and these people are, community members, deep sea community members. They've been part of the family forever, So yeah, it was a no-brainer. I'm actually honored to have these guys here, and and not only that, they're family. They're actually really family. So that's pretty cool too.
So what's really cool about this is that Galen and I are related through. He married my niece, and so through family, and so this is a totally Tangled product through family. And what's really, for me, being older than most of these guys here, I was young and going crazy around here, growing weed and surfing, and all these guys were little kids playing basketball and riding motorcycles around, and to watch them all grow up and become who they are has been super awesome. And to see my family grow, my daughters, my nieces, and then meeting Galen through my niece, and it's been a really awesome run around here in Humboldt County.
Your sister grows some chronic too.
Yeah.
I remember growing up on the streets of Redway watching John do all of the county and construction work around Redway as I grew up as a little grommet, also looking up to John's work ethic and just being a beast out in the community doing all that shit, knowing that there was a backstory to that as well with the fishing and surfing and herb. So super awesome.
So one or two things that you can point out that you think really affects your herb more than anything else that's out there. What do you think it is? Your personal opinion. It's not right or wrong. It's just what you believe in your hearts of hearts that really makes the difference.
I think it's just like the individual attention to each plant and like actually going around and being in tune with what's happening with every single plant on your farm.
I agree.
You
I
know,
agree. 100%.
Not following some directions on the back of a newt.
Not
job,
having-
but
not
actually
having
weeding
100
the
acres.
plant.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what's going to separate us from big ag too.
Yeah, the small scale farms in Humboldt County, we have to be small scale because of the way our land is. We don't have flat land to work off. Everyone's working on the side of hills. And with all the regulations, people are stuck to these small plots, which really is going to work in our benefit because, I mean, all these farmers are just small producing products that are just phenomenal. Like Galen, he watches every plant because he's got, a small farm. If he had 100 acres of weed, I mean, it wouldn't matter. They're just trying to grow it, harvest it, and sell it. Yeah. Here, it's part of our life. We're out there every day. We wake up, we walk our plants. It's just part of our life here in Humboldt.
Dude, I feel that. We've preached that. I mean, it's just when we actually know our buds, like every bud in the garden. I'll go look at one and I'll be like, oh my God, I can't wait to harvest. Look at this thing, and I mean, that's why, I've always said staying small, manageable, and, you can actually grow some. That's one of the reasons why our herb is fully superior, I think.
I believe that quality over quantity philosophy is definitely, if we stay true to that, it will actually continue to separate the product from these communities here in the Emerald Triangle more and more so from big ag. There's going to be more and more commodities driven, bulk, just gross fields of weed. And even though there's going to be more and more of that, there's going to be the same amount of craft, which then also just makes that craft worth more.
Well, and also we have like generations of people growing weed here. Like everything that I've learned over 40 years of cultivating cannabis around here, I've taught to these people, and then around this table, and they've all taken it, raised it to higher levels. And so, I mean, and then they're telling their friends, and in Garberville, we all talk to each other. That's what we do every day. We talk about how we're growing our weed. What products are we using? What strains are we growing? It's like an everyday thing. You go down to Napa and you sit at a little restaurant down there and you hear the grape growers, they're all talking about what they're doing in the vineyards. And we're doing the same thing here, but we're growing cannabis, so this is a cannabis farming town. And that's what we do. We talk about it. And so everyone's whole lives are built around it. And so
what's unique about us, sorry to interrupt, but we don't only just talk about it, we have the people in this community that are willing to share that information that's doing good or not doing good for their farms. And, where other farms in Southern California, I imagine, are competing with each other, exactly. we're actually trying to lift each other up and help each other out by giving each other information. Exactly. And that's why we all talk, amongst each other. I don't know how many times over the years, because we're trying to help each other grow better cannabis.
Yep.
100%. I mean, how many times have you said that? On the way here, me and you were, after fishing, we sat there and talked about strains, and when we're going to start our first crop. What happened? We started too early last year or too late or this or that. All these little tips, I mean, we are learning every single year.
I've already gone to the nursery and found out exactly how John's going to be growing this year's crop and what he's going to put in it. I'm stealing his ideas, and he doesn't even know I'm stealing them. That's what's the cool part.
Well, the best part is we never tell the whole story.
Everything but just a little bit. So that's what we're trying to get out.
We fertilize with bat guano.
No,
we don't tell the rest.
He's not joking, man. I mean, I go over there, I give him this strain that I'm growing, and it's about the size of my thumb. I'm like, oh my God, this stuff hates the cold. This hates this, it hates that. I go down, to his house.
It was
my
about
same
that big
street,
around.
yeah, it's the biggest bud. I'm like, holy crap! I didn't even know Green Lantern that is. It could even get that big, you know. And I'm like, it must be the farmland, you know. It's got to be the farmland. But no, it's years of growing herb. It's years of learning all these little things. It all adds up, and every year we're changing. Every year we're learning. And if you think you know it all, well, you got a lot coming because you don't, you know.
So we were talking about our partners really playing a big role in our ability to grow great cannabis and participating in grow cannabis. Maybe you can share with us first, John, and then Galen, you know, like what part does Denise play in, you know, your cultivation?
Well, like we live on a farm that produces all the food we eat pretty much, except for dairy that we buy in the store and beer and wine. And so my wife is really the backbone of the vegetables, the fruits, the canning, and me and my daughters, we're in charge of the cannabis and the livestock. And so it takes all of us to do it, but it takes one person to really spearhead it and keep it all organized, and that's my wife, Denise. She's the one that in the morning, she's like, this needs to get done, you know, and I'm going, God, I really wanted to go surfing today.
Exactly.
And she's all, well, you can't go unless this is done, you know. So she keeps it all. She keeps it all organized, you know, and, you know, she gives it everything she's got. So you want to make her happy. You don't want to say, well, I'm just going to go, because, you know, she's going to be at home doing that for you if you're not doing it yourself. So it makes it just really fulfilling, and it means a lot when you've got your whole family involved in your scene. And we're not just a cannabis farm. We're a full-grown, you know, feed ourselves, feed our families, feed our friends. You know, we're like closed loop.
Where's my Kobe steak I've been waiting for forever? Their spot is so amazing, so beautiful.
You know, and then to watch like my sister, you know, she's got a farm, and then Galen's wife, my niece, Alana, I mean, she grew up on my sister's farm growing, you know, flowers and all that stuff. And they're, you know, the next generation is doing the same thing. Like their farm is just, you know, growing every day, getting bigger. You know, their gardens are getting larger, the fruit trees are getting bigger. And it's just super cool to see that we're not just about weed around here. We're about a lifestyle. We're about living off the land, you know, living the dream. You know, we don't, you know, go to town to buy food. You know, my wife and I, we wake up and we say, what do you want to eat tomorrow? And then we'll go out to the freezer and get it, you know, or what's fresh. Like right now, we've got like microgreens growing in the greenhouse, and it's February. And we've got tomatoes still coming out of our greenhouse in February, because we've learned how to, you know, after, you know, 40 years of hard work, we're learning how to make this last year round for us. So,
and not only that, I mean, your sister, it's like, what am I going to go buy for Valentine's? Flowers from your sister.
Yep.
You know, it's you guys are green thumbs, you know, but you all just,
along with that quality over quantity of the cannabis, it's also that quality of life, and not getting lost in that, like chasing the Joneses, just work. And we all work our tail off, but there's like you just said, there's this whole other aspect of life here. And like G-Bob's a super talented musician and surfer. His wife likes to kill chickens and barbecue. You know? But,
so let's ask G-Bob. Hey, so on a typical summer morning, you wake up at what time in the morning, and you do what? Let's just. I don't personally know. I know you surf, and I know you're into
Well, luckily
music.
there isn't too much surf in the summertime, so I probably would get nothing done. But yeah, I usually wake up, you know, as it's getting light, and then roll a joint, go out on my porch, kind of just get my bearings, listen to some music, and figure out what that day has in store. Same thing, you know, like John is saying, the weed is one part of the whole thing. It's not only about, we're not on our property just to grow herb. It's the whole dream. We're trying to grow our own food, be self-sufficient off of our land, you know, and the herb is sort of a means to that end. It's definitely a big part of it, but, you know, we grew up just looking up to people like John and you and the older generation that were homesteading already, and that's all we ever wanted, was to just have a piece of land here in the home, you know, in the homeland, and do the thing.
I feel that, man.
And they do it, and they do it right. I mean, it seems like homesteading is like a lost art. Like there was nobody here when I got here to follow how to do it. We've made so many mistakes. I mean, we've had to redo so much stuff, and it's like my kids. I didn't realize they were learning so much. Like when I'd make them tear the fence down and rebuild it, or go out and help in the garden or whatever. And now I watch my kids are starting their own lives. They're in their 30s now, or just starting to get 30, and watching them building their own vegetable gardens and planting their own fruit trees. And it's really nice to see that they actually learned a lot working with us, because sometimes as a parent, you don't think your kids are learning, and then you turn around and there they are, they're doing it,
Not only
for
that, they're on
themselves.
the boat fishing with you all the time. I mean, they're great fisher women.
Well, we're super lucky to live in Humboldt. In Humboldt, we have,
100%.
if you love to fish and garden and, just the pure nature and the beauty of it all. Like yesterday on the river, we're down, going down the river yesterday fishing, and look up, there's 2 bald eagles in the tree. I mean, and we're not in Alaska, we're in California, and we're only, 200 miles away from San Francisco, where there's, I don't know how many millions of people living. So we're super lucky to live in this little part of Northern California that is super magical. And our community, I already said it, is totally built around the cannabis industry. I mean, and with the legalization of cannabis, it's totally letting us become who we are in the open. And it's just the most outrageous thing for a man like me to, for 40 years, hide in the bushes, to come out and be with all these kids that have grown up to be awesome people. And now we've got legal farms, and it's incredible.
So just to touch a little bit more on that, it's just like ingrained in my mind, and I'm sure I have it on my phone somewhere. I remember when you sold your first legal pound to a distributor, and you sent me a message, and I mean, you were borderline on tears, and it kind of is really teary to me, because I got to experience that moment of how special that was to you, and really trying to figure out why that was such a special moment, and you just with the biggest genuine smile on your face that you just sold your first legal product. And really it comes down to where this multi-billion-dollar industry was created from, and the journey that we've all been on to. And those were some scary times that we all went through to get to this moment, to get to Tangled Roots, to get to be able to sit here at this table and field and to be wearing a Sun Love shirt and be proud of what we do. And maybe if you feel comfortable enough, you can share some of those scary times or some of those scary moments really that brought you back here. I mean, only if you feel comfortable, because I know we've all dealt with some of the helicopters over our families' homes and running through the woods or not being able to sleep at night. And really, that's what's brought us here today. That's what's bonded us all, and that comes down to trust. Like, I would trust you with my life because I know what you've been through, and I know you've proven yourself to be a stand-up person.
Well, what I would say is what made me so happy and emotional was to see Garberville being able to become who Garberville is. We're a legal cannabis farming community, and nobody has to hide, and no one has to be in fear. And
People can be proud of it now.
people can be proud of it. Look at, like we're saying, everyone's got, their logos on their shirts and on their hats, and they're proud of who they are. And you couldn't have done that if it didn't go legal, And so for me, I was never about, an illegal pot farms. I've always thought it should go legal, because I just think,
Why go to jail for weed, right?
well, and
It's not that
this
bad,
way,
yeah.
this generation that's coming up could be proud of themselves in the public. You know what I mean? I mean, they're proud between themselves, but now they can be proud of themselves with everybody. They could explain what they do for a living, and they needed to be able to do that because everyone's got a story that's amazing, and everybody could tell their stories now.
I mean, think about, what do you feel watching it just expand throughout the world. You know, from like we're starting from us, our little hidden area, just to watching it just blow up.
Well, I don't really know. I still live in this little area, and I work every day on our little piece of land, so
Yeah.
I don't really know what happens outside a lot because we work too hard to, like, you know.
But you know that the marijuana is spreading out throughout the world, and it's pretty popular right now. You know, it's caught, it's took it off, and I feel like a lot of it started right here. I mean, I don't want to be biased, but I think Emerald Triangle basically that's where it started. You know, in our little area, we grew up around it, and now we're watching it just go everywhere. And what do you think, G?
It's interesting to see it like getting so much social acceptance like so fast, you know, and just it seems like not that long ago, you know, we're still in
A
fear for
redheaded
our
stepchild of the
yeah,
fucking.
exactly.
And I
You
don't
know?
even know if you realize how many younger kids growing up now look up to your farm and look at what you do and really admire, kind of in a similar way that we admired how John did things. They're admiring you. They're looking at what you're doing. They're hearing that you're getting they're digging in the mulch piles right now, putting it in their shit. I mean, so you're like a very important role model to the kids that are growing up now today. And so what you're doing is really special. Obviously, your herb is amazing. We're sitting here with a 2-time Emerald Cup winner, which is like unbelievably amazing in itself. And then we're also sitting here with a person that has pulled off a permit to run a distributorship and to represent us all. That is just like beyond comprehensible, and it's so amazing in itself. And I know, Chris, and it's always about us, but maybe today you can share some of the stories that you've dealt with, and I know you have many, whether or not you want to share them or not, but I heard through the grapevine of this one story in particular of you on a mountainside. And maybe we don't talk about that.
Well, no, I'm all about it. Actually, I've told a
And like,
couple
they had to
stories
come
already.
pick you up. You were hiding under the
yeah.
bushes overnight. I mean, I heard
It was actually the year before I was working for you. In your patch
Wait,
that
we
you
don't
ended
have
up
to-
getting
don't talk-
busted in and spent time
Cut.
for. Cut. But yeah, man, the old stories are, so I do believe it's something to kind of, not mine in particular, but it's just something, it's part of this whole road and to get us here. But yeah,
And
man,
the community needs to know what we went through to be here at this table today.
I won't go to the one
mean-
story you told me years ago, but I still remember a little hiding behind a tarp story years ago. We won't go there, but he has plenty of good ones. One thing I do want to say that's amazing is, we all do our things, but then we'll go like out to the beach and we'll all join, we'll barbecue on the beach. And I mean, there's so many of the same faces in this community that we just have little gatherings like that. And it's special, especially with, these guys.
Well, it's really special, like having Chris. I mean, he grew up in this town, and now look he's like helping all the growers here. I mean, he works 24 hours a day, I think. I mean, he never sleeps. I mean, it's insane what he has to do. But without him,
teamwork makes the dream work.
to
man.
bring our product to the market, all us farms would be nothing. And so we have Chris here to help us, and we have all the pieces to the puzzle. So it's amazing.
Well, we just gotta educate the
I honestly
consumers
feel
now,
like we
right?
have the keys or the rope to either hang ourselves and climb the tree with at this point in time. It's a supply and demand marketplace, and we still have the supply here. And it's all about that collaboration and sitting at the round table and discussing strategy and big picture and long trajectory of what we're trying to accomplish here. And it's a long fucking road. And it's all about that education of the consumer and the bud tenders that are actually driving
I mean, is that why we're
sales.
kind of doing this right now?
Absolutely.
Trying to get the word out, let everyone know who we are, what we are, that we're family orientated, cannabis farmers. And I mean, when it comes down to it, like I said, people buy our herb, it's
just think
going
it's
to
super,
support a community, right?
It's amazing too, just to see, like, I remember when the concept for Red Roots came up and we were down at Grady's place and we were talking about it, and like
Rainy day.
it was kind of this far off reality of like,
Yeah.
could this
You were
really
there
happen?
too. That's so killer.
And it was like, we didn't really kind of know exactly, but we just knew what needed to happen. It was a leap of faith, big time. And to see it manifest into what it is now is just
to know the struggles that you went
Goosebumps.
through.
Yeah.
We're all on this ride
We
together,
are,
man.
we are.
I
I mean-
we've all had to do our own little work to get us to where we're at to sit here together, man.
Which a lot of it, though, we're doing it for the community and our families, but you literally are throwing the community on your shoulders, which is
And so much of this is like unprecedented. It's not like there was like a path in front of us with the legal market that we knew, okay, this is how it's going to go. It's just kind of like, all right, turn yourself in and hope for the best. That's kind of what it felt like.
Pretty
you know?
much, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
sign this piece of paper and
That was
say you're grandfathered in.
a lot of it was unlearning, the ways that we've been raised and brought up, And for me, like, that was kind of the hardest. Like, there's so much of this has been so secretive and like, hiding in the shadows, and it was very much a leap of faith to do this, but we're in it for the long run. We're in it for the long game. We're not trying to
And it's
only
really
make it another year and then, it's like, this is our life. This is what we do.
And it's really hard to do something that you love and have so much passion in doing for so many years and not be able to share it openly and honestly and get recognition for doing that. So actually for me and for a lot of us, I think this is the time that we've been able to share with the world something that we've been so passionate and that we find so much love. And all we really want to do is share something that we do so well with the consumer and really have them either really enjoy what we're doing or give us at least feedback on what we're doing, and we can adjust from there. But some of the comments that we get on some of the social media sites that we're on really either can really make your day and put a smile on your face or
Piss you off?
or not, but piss you off a little bit. But it's
that's hard
it's amazing
work,
how much
man.
recognition that I was earning for so many years.
Johnny, you did 12 years in jail, right? 12 years?
Eight.
8? 8 years of your life for this plant. You know what I mean? You're a good guy.
and for this community.
And with that, though, and yeah, that's what I did. But I still have an understanding that it could have been any one of my friends that could have done that time. I was made an example of, and that's okay. The real credit goes to how I was raised as a child. That your word is your bond. These are your families, and no matter what happens, that I'm accepting of what I had done, and that I could do the time for my crime. And there was a way out, and I didn't take that way out. And that's the kind of group that I've surrounded myself, and these are my people. And because we can trust, that's what we have, is this lifelong trust that we can trust each other with our lives.
And when you're seeing that go down, and everyone around you does the same thing as you were doing, but you're going down for it, and having to deal with all that, I mean, it was intense, impressive, emotional, the whole thing. You took it for the team, basically. And I think it taught a lot of people. And now you're back here, and you're spreading. Now your farms, right? You're gonna have people coming to your farm.
Yeah, I got a tourism permit this year, and so I really get to. I feel very honored to be able to share some of the stories of the Emerald Triangle and really what we've gone through with people that saw Murder Mountain and saw the Netflix thing that kind of portrayed us as this evil county. So we get to participate in changing that view of who we are, and I think it's a real important step forward, and I'm excited about it. And I'm excited because I have you guys along with the journey with me. And to go alone and to be alone in this journey, that's no fun. It's not about one of us, it's about all of us. And
I don't think it would have been doable, if it wasn't for you start to get like frustrated or fed up with what's happening, and I'm not like a real like clerical person, all the paperwork that's involved, and like not being able to bounce these thoughts off of John or Jason or Toph and ask questions like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Like, it's very much been
and with that question, what do you think about that? Knowing that the answer you're going to get is 100% true and honest is exactly what they believe. That's the important part, is to know that the people that you're talking to are giving you feedback that is for your well-being. And that's the true, that's what's amazing about what we have here.
Hey, like what consultants you should use, right? You know what I mean? It's like different things like that. What engineer you should use. I mean, that all works. And I like to say too, where we're sitting right now is this studio where, you know, G-Bob makes music, you know, at home he makes music. This guy right here, DJ threw some of the biggest parties Reggae on the River has ever seen, you know, and it's just all of that is the community, you know, it's blah, blah, blah. I go on and on. I start thinking about Reggae on the River and just like, oh man, I want that back.
So we all dealt with different strains for 2020. It's 2021. It's a new year. We've learned a lot in the last year. We dealt with COVID. We're sitting here today. John, what are we growing in 2021 and why?
Well, everyone's going down the ice cream cake path, but I think I'm going to zig while everyone else is zagging, because I'm going back to the good old OG days, because I mean that's what we've done for so long, and we've got it really figured out, you know. And I think it's really a quality plant that it's not that easy to grow, and that we've learned how to do, and I think it's going to be a staple of Southern Humboldt for a long time. I think everybody here on this table could grow it at a high quality. And it's incredible to see, you know, what people have been able to achieve with this strain. This hasn't been an easy strain to work with. And so I think OG is going to be around for a long time in Southern Humboldt. And I think there's going to be all kinds of, you know, cookie strains, and there's going to be, you know,
Lots of exotics.
yeah, a lot
What's
of.
the champ growing this year?
Oh man, that'll be a huge list. I'm just chasing the strain game around. It's driving me nuts. Take half the podcast.
What's gonna be your staple?
Come on, give it up.
You have one main staple.
I mean, I gotta still. I can't give a staple. I think. You know,
So what's cool?
I have to grow Green Lantern, but homeboy right here grows it so much better than me. I mean, I don't even know.
You're gonna step aside here.
I think you need to grow that. Yeah. What about you, G-Bob?
I mean, yeah, definitely some ice cream cake, because it seems to be what everybody wants, but I'm not gonna put all my eggs in that basket. Some OG.
It's a beautiful plant.
You know, some runs.
So
Definitely.
So let's talk about it a little bit. I guess maybe we're getting to it. Let's jump ahead. So what did you end up putting into the Tangled Roots jar?
I put in Wedding Crasher. I really like it a lot. It's a variation that seems to be more potty than the ice cream cake, and it just doesn't seem to have the popularity. But it's a wonderful plant. I mean, I really like the pottiness of it as myself.
It's wedding cake crossed with what is it again? I'm not even.
Is it
what's
gassy?
the wedding
What is it
crasher?
like? Sweet.
It's wedding cake.
Wedding cake and
crossed with something.
Purple
Right?
punch, right?
Is it the punch?
I think so.
Yeah. Good one. What about you, G? What are you putting in there?
It's a good old wedding cake. But this particular
Yeah.
cut is from our friends.
And a wedding joins you both. I mean, this, you know what I mean? That's a beautiful thing right there, you know?
I've tried a few different wedding cakes, and this is definitely the favorite one that we've done. This is our friends at Humboldt Sacred Roots tissue cultured it, and it's
It's all right.
It seems to be a bit more gassy than some of the other ones we've done. And I don't know. It's just it's a good one. It's cool, and it weighs up. And we've kind of worked out.
I mean,
the
you
kinks on
get
it.
those strains that like your area. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I'm a little higher up, gets colder weather. All of a sudden, I'll have, you know, some strains hate it. And so you learn that. That's what you're saying with OG. We've learned OG. We know how long you grow it till you turn it back. We know everything about OG. We put years into that plant. So, yeah, I mean.
This wedding cake made me get really quiet. I can tell you that.
Are you high?
If that says anything about it.
It's funny because Huckleberry Hill Farms and Ridgeline Farms are talking about doing a little collaboration. We have a nursery license this year, so I'm able to sell or give, or I don't know, it's never sell to our friends, it's more give. But we were talking about maybe having Ridgeline grow Amalfi this year,
Oh,
which turned to
nice.
be a pretty high THC product that we developed at our farm with the strain my mom used to grow years and years and years ago. So
I wish they made that easier for us because we all love to share. all of us, you know?
Yeah,
It's
it's
like with the whole metric thing, you have to have a nursery license, which luckily one of our buddies does.
You know,
but it's
they
just
can't
like,
stop. They
I'd
can't
love to be
stop
able to
it.
give you, you know, all of our strains, you know? It's just,
They're going to make the rules, and we're going to figure out how to
I know,
to navigate the
I know.
rules.
Did you
Jeez.
Phylos the Amalfi? The genetics tracing thing?
Phylos, yeah.
The Phylos
I did
test?
that early on when Phylos
Was
had
it,
their.
Was it with
their-
Amalfi though? Did you ever do that?
No,
one?
I did with the original Paradise Punch and some of the other strains that
And what is
I
the
had.
Amalfi again?
Amalfi is Paradise Punch because all the strains on my farm are bred with strains my mom had back 45 years ago. So that's kind of what's unique about my farm. But it's Paradise Punch, my mother's strain, crossed with, I fell into the trap trying to get a higher THC, so I crossed it with Zuki's.
Oh.
And
I like Ziggy's.
came up
Killer
with,
strain.
actually, I got the Zuki's under
Hard
the
to grow,
table
but
from
killer.
you.
Yeah, well, come on, man.
So I crossed that, so it's only appropriate that you get to grow it and see how it is, and if it comes out better, you'll never get it again.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Did you enter that?
No.
No? Why not?
It came out really good, and Chris got it, and he never gave it back to me to enter. So we're going to do a collaboration
Blame it
with
on you,
Redwood
right? You're
Ridge.
the hero or
We're
the
gonna
zero.
stick some of that Amalfi in a Redwood Roots Huckleberry jar.
Yeah, sweet. We just got
yeah.
it tested. It was like 32.5%
No way, really?
THC. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty fired up about that, even though I'm definitely against bringing any attention to really high THC product because I really believe the consumer has been led down a path that is, all about THC, but it's what makes you feel good isn't just about THC. It has a lot to do with terpenes and cannabinoids and stuff. And I think it's important that we help educate the consumer about terpenes and the importance of terpenes and I just don't know how to go about that. We
Hey,
have
we
a
know how to
limited.
go about that is enter in some 16% stuff and see how it
There you
does.
Yeah,
You know, see, people are really
Exactly.
just buying it because of the number on the jar or how it makes them feel.
I think we need some blind taste tests and
Oh, yeah.
contests and stuff to
I
really.
guarantee between us, we smoke more weed than the next person, and I know I've been smoking the 16% stuff, and I could smoke some 27%, and it's it's a different high, no doubt, but you're feeling it in different ways, and
How did
I
this?
personally like that. I don't want to, you know what I mean? It's more get up and go.
How did this THC-driven market thing even start? Is that how did
Is it
that?
like proof with alcohol? But nobody really looks at proof with alcohol.
I mean, unless you're
But maybe it
16
started.
and you're stealing it, and you just
Yeah,
want to get
yeah.
wasted.
Oh yeah, 151.
I feel like it's just like it's like an easy guide. It's just a number that you can see and be like, oh yeah,
It's gonna get you
27.
way
high
more
That
wasted.
means
THC. This
better.
must mean the quality
yeah,
is good.
exactly. It's not. There's
More
so much
bang
more
for the
that
buck.
goes into it.
Isn't there like the wine scoring system? You know what I mean? Couldn't there
Oh,
be like
sure.
could
That
we
would be cool.
develop like a scoring system that's not based on THC content? That's
the
It's kind of
overall
going to
score.
terpenes right now. I mean, that's what Emerald Cup's doing. That's what people are starting to talk about is terpenes more than THC.
It's
and
ki-
that's what these exotics, all these crazy flavors.
It's kind of interesting. The Emerald Cup is having an indoor category this year, which is cool because whoever wins, that indoor. The first thing I'm going to say is that good-looking indoor looks just like fucking outdoor.
Yeah.
We've always been comparing outdoor
Indoor.
to indoor, but I think what's going to change here in 2021 is comparing indoor to really good outdoor.
Yeah.
So
And I mean,
we're going to reverse the roles. We're going to change it all up.
and like I said, I didn't think it was awesome just to have that just because with global warming, with, watching the world go to shit kind of as it is, to promote indoor growing. And it's not that I don't like indoor growing. I know buds look amazing. I've grown indoor. I mean, it's not hating on indoor. It's just, it's the difference you get from sun grown is you tell it by the quality, the taste in your body, how you feel, everything, and it's not hurting. It's not
For the same reasons you don't go into a
For the
grocery
nerd.
store and buy your vegetables that are grown under artificial lighting is the same reason
Exactly,
you shouldn't
exactly.
go buy your cannabis that is grown underneath lights. You know,
Before this whole
growing
regulated
under the sun.
marketplace happened, and like, let's even say 10 years ago, our pot was being sold as indoor pot. You know what I mean?
Still
So-
is.
Still
Still
is.
is, yeah.
So like,
Which always kind of annoyed me when people would be like, you could
Does
sell
it
that
look
as
like
indoor.
indoor?
You're like, dude, no. It's just high grade.
You can tell it is sun-grown. Yep.
You know?
the one big lighter in the sky.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about, being the first coming into the jar, Tangled Roots, I mean.
Well, I feel super honored
to be a part of it,
Yeah, to be honored to be part of it. I think you guys, Johnny and Jason, have done, and Toph, you guys have done a tremendous lot of work on this thing, and your idea is really, really a really good idea. Listen, it's all about the tangled roots, how the community intertwines with each other. Like Galen's my family member. We're tangled in that, and then also, I don't know.
Yeah, but
I'm
you-
getting really
you-
stoned, you guys.
You participate.
The metaphor that you have though with the redwood trees and how the redwood trees hold each other up is like the perfect metaphor for this whole project. I mean, it's exactly what we are. None of us would be able to do this if we were just our own empires looking out for ourselves. And
So there's like lifestyle brands, which I think Tangled Roots is one of, but I think it's more than just a lifestyle brand as well. It's like community brand. I
I
feel
mean,
like
I'm
there's
honored, honestly, to have people like you guys in this, and it's serious. It's for me, there's a lot of name brands that are out there, but then there's people like you guys that, you aren't really out on all these shelves yet, and you should be. You're far superior to, most everyone I know, really, and your story and your family and how much you put in the community. I mean, you guys deserve. I mean, I know you don't really give a shit about recognition personally. You know what you got, and you're blessed. But I do feel you are deserved this.
And you're a big part of the
Put a lot
reason
more in
why
than
this
I have,
industry is where
you
it's
know?
at today. Whether or not you'll admit it or say it out loud or whatever.
No,
you know,
'cause that's genuine. There's not bragging. I mean, I don't have a gold chain. Love Humboldt Farm. It's just real good people. Both of you guys. It's like great families. Great kids, and to me, this is what I want it to be about.
Well, farming's not like you grow 1 year and you're successful and then you go show off. Farming's a lifestyle. You get up every day and every day it's something different because it's a different season. So like for us, like we wake up right now, we're like, it's a slow season, but we still have our microgreens in the greenhouse and we still have the animals to go feed. And it's more work for the animals right now because it's wet outside, so we don't let them out in the meadows. So we've got them in their barns, and so we've got to keep the barns clean. But because of that, we get all that manure that we make our compost. And then, and like in a month from now, the compost is going to be turned over, and then we're going to start hauling it and putting it on our beds. And then we're going to start planting our vegetables. And then our fruit trees, this is the month to prune fruit trees. So we're busy with that. Farming
don't
never
stop.
ends. We don't have time to stop and think, look, we've done it. Like if you stop and start looking at yourself, then you're falling behind.
And
the
then
whole
as
thing,
soon as you start to think that you got it dialed, there's another set
yeah, and
of-
the whole thing with farming is to stay in groove with what's happening. You have to just stay on top of it. If you like sit back for a month or two and let your work pile up, then it's overwhelming. But if you get up every day and do what has to be done that day, then it's fun and it's enjoyable.
That's it. Don't you kind of like going to to your room, looking at your plants? It's off season, but just I can't stop planting plants.
I mean, like,
I just want to keep potting them up and keep planting. It's because you actually, as much as we call it work, we really
Yeah,
do love it.
like for me on our farm, we don't plant till June 1st because that's when we can bring them outside of the lights and put them outside. So everyone's growing greenhouses early in the year, and I'm like vibrating, thinking I need to start planting weed, But I don't have time because I have to cut the hay. I got to bale the hay, get the hay in the barns. I've got, we're usually having baby pigs right then in the
Fishing,
springtime.
surfing, fishing,
Yeah.
surfing.
And you got to make time for fun too. If you don't have time for fun, then why live here?
What is the point?
Yeah, what's the point of
what's the
life?
point?
If you're not having fun, there's no point to doing what and I have fun going down and feeding the pigs in the morning. And I have, and going with my wife out and like pruning the fruit trees like the last 2 days, and it's sunny right now and it's nice and it's like, it's just been awesome, and you know, and you work until 1 o'clock, you're tired, you go in and you make lunch. And you maybe take an hour or two break. There's no time clocks to punch, you know. And then you go out and you work until you're hungry again. Then you go in and eat dinner, you know.
Yeah.
I'll find myself walking around, pretty much almost dark, smoking a joint, checking on every single thing, and I just doing laps.
Yeah.
Laps around. Finally,
Well-
you come in and you just, you're beat. You don't even know why
Well,
you're walking around
what's fun is-
sometimes, but it's just, closing down the farm. It's nice.
Jason and I sometimes will, like on Sunset, we'll be sending each other pictures. I'll be going, look at this, oh my God, look at the colors, then he'll send me back, I'm out here too, And so like all these, the farmers are out in their field, and that's where you have to be if you're a farmer, And so that's what I try to impress with everybody more than anything is like, we're not just cannabis farmers, we're farmers, and, we have, a full schedule besides the cannabis. And that's what makes it fun.
Our families,
Yeah, and to
friends.
raise your kids in this whole, all this has been so much work, and some days you go, God, how can I handle all this? And then, a friend comes over and brings a killer bud, and you go, oh my God, that's why we're here,
Right.
So.
I know it's been pretty tough too this year with no, festivals and no gatherings, and so we get to see, like right now, it's cool to be able to hang out with you guys because we don't get much of that this year. I mean, we are a festival community. We were actually raised around that.
Cannabis and
I always mull this over in my head, and I think about this quite a bit, and I think I talked about it in our last podcast too, but really having Redwood Roots and you, especially Chris, as part of this team, it really makes it possible to do what we're doing and to go forward. And I always think back to this last summer when all these farmers around here were dealing with the bad fires, and the first distributor to load up his vans and to go to the top of the mountain and put it out on social media that if you need us, here we are. We're ready to roll.
I know for a fact that you would do the same thing for me in a heartbeat.
Absolutely,
whether
but
it's
the
cannabis
fact is
or
you
not.
did it.
It's like, but I know that same support. It's like we all. That's what this is all about. Is that we've been supporting each other for lifetimes, and we're going to continue to do so. And it's really tribal around here in a great way. And so
but
I'm
we
truly
all do
honored.
stuff because it feels good and it's the right thing to do. And you really helped me and my farm personally to know that participating with you is the right thing to do. And it felt really good and I felt very proud
Give you
that there
$500
you
pound offer.
Hey, oh yeah, now here's your weed.
Sorry.
Now here's your weed.
You lose your train of thought.
That's funny.
So
That's funny.
anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for being you, and thank you for holding the line of our trust.
I think we all
And
have to keep doing that though. We are all holding the line.
That's
right
it.
now,
But we always second guess.
Everybody right now is in fear of the big takeover. I mean, I am. It's you're watching it, but I feel like our mission is kind of to hold the line, and like this is what we're doing. We are going to be families. We're gonna maybe weed prices are going to go down, but no matter what, our community will stay strong together.
If we can aggregate, organize, and stay true to the quality, we absolutely have a place in this market. 100 million% chance, in particular when it grows out of the state. The state is tough. We were just discussing before the podcast that, there was a little study done in California. Humboldt County's kind of lost its name and its big, it's the mystique of Humboldt County. But we also understand, and in my opinion, I agree that the further away from here you get, and when that marketplace opens up to interstate, international trafficking, Humboldt County and the Emerald Triangle is the place that holds that name and that story and that mystique and that cool thing that, like, consumers, I believe and hope that across the world will want to support this conversation. Know that their money is going to a small farmer that supports the community center, that is building out the skate park for the kids around here, and that there's not one CEO or one dude sitting at the top of the table that on a fucking island in fucking Tahiti raping the profits of this community. This community's been an extraction. We had a little bit of this conversation, I didn't repeat, but the extraction economy here in like the logging industry and the fishing industry. And so we have an opportunity to keep our value here and keep that money here in our hands, in our community, where it should be. So I'm just honored to work with this community and these folks sitting here at the table. This is fucking what it's all about. It's like true lean in. It's like trust is difficult sometimes, but we all got to, lean in and for this to work. So I'm just, without your guys' support, Red Roots wouldn't be fucking here. That's for sure. This ain't about Red Roots. It's about all of us.
God, it's so cool just to be able to share with the consumer. I mean, it's just amazing because there are, even though a lot of people want to get high and stuff, a lot of people need it for medicinal values and stuff that, whatever ailment they have. And so those people that we're able to share that with, that can really help them sleep or whatever it is, it feels amazing to be able to participate and to help them too. So that's another part of it that's really gratifying.
And there are some projects that, unbeknownst to you guys yet, some of your product is going to give to people. So there's a Sweet Leaf Collective out of the Bay Area, the first collective formed in the state back in 1996.
Sweet Leaf Joe
has a program that gives back to terminally ill patients of AIDS and cancer and whatnot. So he started that in the Bay and now in LA. But we donate to that program, and they. Padre Mu delivery company out of the Bay is the retailer that distributes it to the people, but the actual owner of that company goes himself and gets in the van and goes and drives around for free and gives our pot away to people, and it's a really cool thing to be a part of. So like that's what yeah
I got to share some of my product with Weed for Warriors, and a couple veterans had come up to my place, and I was walking them around the farm, and I was sharing with them the different strains I was growing and the plants that I were growing and my story and the journey that I had been through. And it wasn't about woe is me, but I was telling my story, and it could have been perceived as like, oh, that sucks that you had to go through that. And then while I was telling that, in the next very breath, this gentleman was telling me how he had driven up next to an IUD and it exploded and his whole team had passed away, and he had 23 different surgeries in order to survive. And it really brought it back home for me that the true value in what we're doing is being able to provide and gift these people that really deserve all the credit some of the product that we're growing.
It's a beautiful thing about that is that's genuine giving. That's not a marketing ploy from our community. That's like a real desire to give to people in need. Whereas in contrast to that, there's companies that just use those types of things as a marketing gimmick. But when I believe, when it's a real gift from the heart, that just it separates also just who this community is and what we're doing, because it's just authentic. We're not trying to get paid for that shit. Light up some more weed. Well, that could be a nice little blank spot right there that you edit out.
Timeout.
Oh man, I'm so stoned, you guys. I can't even believe it.
Yeah, you're killing it.
I don't smoke weed ever, man. It's like this. I'm just like finding myself just going, whoa, Melty. My mind, I'm trying to think, and my mind is just like,
keep it rolling.
No, that's it's a good herb.
Yeah.
It's love Humboldt, son love. And then part of this goes to donations. And that's another thing cool with the Tangled Roots, that each of these farms picks us, somebody they want to donate to.
Yeah, can you share with us a little bit about, like, we donated to the Mateel Community Center,
Yeah, you're high
and
too over there.
the response that we got from that. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah,
that felt amazing.
It really did. We picked the Mateel because not only we are here watching it get built, we've been to so many different, concerts there. There's been friends that have passed. We've had celebrations there. I mean, it goes on and on. Mateel's the founder of, Reggae on the River. I mean, biggest part of our life, probably most of our lives anyways. anyways, yeah, they're just it's a community center. You know, this is a community project, and we went there and we got to donate a little bit. It's not gonna pull them out of the woods, but it helps. Every bit helps, and man, it felt just so good. It was just faces, family. They're still all involved, still there doing the fight. Just like we are with the herb, they're there trying to keep that community center going. And so, yeah, no, I walked away from that just feeling like this is right. This project's right. This project's not a big money-making project. Probably spend more than we're making as of now, for sure. But in general, it's about the community and helping the community and the nonprofits and getting the stories out there like Johnny and G-Bob, that just are good people. It's my spiel.
Yeah, it was good. It felt good. It was real. It was really cool to watch them just in awe when we came in, and your relationship with each one of them was.
My stepdad is there, right?
Right, yeah, so-
that was one of his last board meetings, Brucey.
Yeah.
I mean, I called you right afterwards, just going, that felt so amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, what I said, money cannot pay for that feeling. Like you could, money or giving to somebody, and people that haven't donated or helped someone out, you probably should, because it's so empowering. It feels right, Anybody else feel empowered?
Fucking G-Bob weed. Go get yourself some Tangled Roots. Episode 2.
Yeah, yourself some Tangled Roots.